This isn't me. This is not me.
Do you mean to imply that it was I who went on an insane killing rampage?
I mean, this can't be what I am. What I've become? It makes no sense.
What? You don't feel you are the logical product of your past? If that's the case, then I would like to know by what scale of logic do you subscribe to that allows you to accept my severed head floating alongside you?
That's just it. The logic is fucked up here. There's something inherently wrong in this. You've been with me from the start, haven't you? Even before the nail hit the bunny, your voice was in my head. Because it's my voice. Because you are me. The other end of my internal conversations. We all assign a voice to the aspects of ourselves. I remember you always being there from the start. So you've seen what I've seen, felt it all. The people laughing and living their petty lives.
A world defined by its daytime talk shows.
You know what goes on in this world. They don't understand. They don't see that long after their laughter subsides, and in search of the next cheap thrill, that their victims are still hearing the taunts in their heads, a cacophony of degrading noise, poisonous perception. These fucks acknowledge their own worthlessness by pursuing the mundane, inviting their pain to confront them in the form of a furious victim. But I'm losing it, aren't I? I don't know which ones deserve my attention. And I lose things. Things leave me. I can't remember what it is to hold on to something. Friends leave. Everything leaves.
I suggest you seek some alternate source of sympathy, Nee. You tried to kill that girl. She liked you, and you tried to kill her. That was impolite. So you must prefer this to any pleasure they give, however brief it may be.
Well, no! Like I said, it makes no sense. I can't explain anything because I can't find it in me. I think back, looking for what brought me here, but I only get images as if through a haze. I've done some pretty ghastly shit, and yet the clear motivation eludes me. These acts, they're more like answers to a question I don't even remember asking. I try to think back, but it only goes soft, and nothing feels right or solid. I remember images, like bad photographs printed on wet toilet paper, blurry and distorted. Bits and fragments. I remember being little. The other kids laughing at how skinny I was, calling me noodle boy. Typical shit, that's all. Why is it like this? I've done things, all those people, and I acted like I enjoyed it. I'm doing this and I can't even explain why, and I'm sure it's not just a bad mood.
Look around you. Can you remember being the person who made all of these paintings? You once threw everything of yourself into these things, feeding them with creatures in your head. Paint and ink where now there are barrels of blood. Am I the only part of you that remembers a time when your imagination was used to create things other than horridly paranoid delusions? And though the current situation could be just another of those delusions, we'll say it's not. Whatever the case, it is evident your creativity is the victim of something. I mean, look at you. You devote more time to fuming over the stupidity of mankind than you do to what you once felt so much for. Your imagination has been subverted. And look at what's left. The extent of your work is that anemic piece of shit, Happy Noodle Boy. A goddamn stick figure.
Dear Lord! You've been trying to warn me, haven't you? See, I told you it made no sense. All this senseless killing. What good is there in this when it is all too apparent that you don't kill your guests? You torture them. Drill it into them. Make them forget what comfort is. Death frees them from the education I offer. Let them understand first. Then they can die. So why have I been collecting all the blood? I hate blood. Like I hate piss and sweat and shit and spit and all the other sewage of the organism. Just like I detest that fucking cream filling in the Twinkie. Now I ask you, my bunny, why would I do such things? As if I really had to ask. It's so entirely obvious. I'm being manipulated by some nameless demon scourge from beyond our plane of existence. It spoke to me in my own voice, letting me believe I was hearing my own conscience. I was losing sight of my own reasons, so I was weak. It just took over, and I let it happen. Shit. That's not good. I've relinquished control of my own insanity. We think we can live away from what we hate. But we are defined by those very things. It feeds upon us. Sustained by our belief that we are doing something right, we think we are so great in our protests. But we just become the bitter offspring of what we oppose. We become prisoners in our own cages. We begin to speak in badly constructed, melodramatic prose. Oh, the raging horror, make it stop! As if things weren't bad enough before, now it seems I've become a servant to whatever the hell's behind that wall. I'd like to see somebody try to beat me in a hard luck story contest. We spend forever building up our defenses, only to have that be what allows us to be controlled.
Excuse me, let me just interrupt your disjointed little musings here. Let me remind you that you've still no idea what you were like before all this. Pity is just one thing you shouldn't expect much of just yet.
Do you remember? Do you remember how much of this is me and how much is what that thing did to me? Do you think that if it went away, that thing, do you think it'd be like if a smoker quits? Do you think I'd get fat?
Well, I couldn't say. Although I would think that with your bone structure, you would look revolting as an obese person. However, I do vaguely remember that you were somewhat different before. You still did ghoulish things, but for slightly different reasons.
Ah, a step in the right direction. And how exactly does one rid themselves of an infestation of this sort?
That's a question you should ask someone else.
Who? All the other things in here are me, just like you're me. They'll know just about as much as we do.
You already said that you assigned your voice to various things, like right now, you're basically having a conversation with yourself. But who would ever suspect that they were no longer the mind behind the other end of their internal conversation? The other voices have become self-aware.
The doughboys. It's them, isn't it? They're not mine anymore, are they? That's who it's working through. They're getting stronger. I saw them moving around on their own, and I get weaker, more confused. Ah, fuck, shit, another such expletives! No. I wish someone would just shut me off and fix me. Bunny?
Yes, Nee?
I'm not happy.